Let's hope so. I would be
Yes,
more
sir.
than happy. Right, yeah. So okay, yeah. So we'll start with the session. Good morning. Sorry. Good afternoon, and welcome to yet another online tutorial on microwaves and antennas. Right. So we are in module one, and today we'll start discussing about Smith chart. So far we, till yesterday we have discussed about standing wave ratio, and we have solved some problems. Right. And today we have to start with Smith chart. That is the last topic in transmission line and a very, very important topic as far as your VTU syllabus, and also this gate or any other private sector exam, and also practical aspects are concerned. Right. So before I start discuss the aspects of Smith chart, right, I would like to tell what is going to happen in today's session. Right. So today we'll start with the concept of line impedance and line admittance, even though it is not specifically or explicitly mentioned in your syllabus. Right. Without having an idea of this line impedance and line admittance, you won't be able to appreciate the concept of Smith chart. So I'll just give you an overview. So as it is not explicitly mentioned in your syllabus, I won't go in detail and derive each and every expression, but whatever is relevant, right? The key points which I want you to register, I'll discuss here, right? So I request everyone to take it down, right? So I'll repeat. I told it is not explicitly mentioned in your syllabus, but as it is one of the prerequisite of Smith chart, I can't guarantee it is omitted from syllabus. They can ask questions from this. So if even if they are asking some questions, right, I just want to make sure you'll be able to answer it. That's why, and also to make sure you are able to appreciate Smith chart, we are having this particular discussion on line impedance and line admittance, right? And after that, we'll see how voltage, current, and impedance along a transmission line change. So I'll tell every lambda by 2 length, right, the values of voltage, current, and impedance will repeat if it is a lossless line, right? That should be the key takeaway from there. But before that, we'll do some discussion. Then we'll discuss about normalized impedance and admittance and some characteristics. What is actually what maximum normalized impedance? I'll tell maximum normalized impedance will be equal to the magnitude of standing wave ratio. Minimum normalized impedance will be reciprocal of standing wave ratio. All such things we'll use. Why? Because those results will be useful for you when you are studying about Smith chart, right? And finally, I don't know if time permits, what we'll do is we'll see the Smith chart basics and construction. But whatever these points one and two we will be discussing, they are right important as far as the aspects of Smith chart is concerned, right? So before even we start with, I'll just show you Smith chart, right? So I'll just show what is a Smith chart, right? And please do let me know what is that you can perceive from this. Okay, maybe I'll zoom it out a bit. So okay, here I am presenting before you like this is Smith chart. Right. On this app, I wrote some circle and all those things. Right. So have you seen something like this before? Please feel free to tell. Have you seen something like this before? This is a Smith chart, right? So this is a graphical tool. I request everyone to watch very closely and try to identify something. What is there in this diagram? What are there in this diagram? Whether all of you can see different types of circles, different families of circles, right? So maybe I'll use a new color here, right? So there are two sets of circle. One set of circle actually what it will be, right, like this, right? And one more, it is actually what a part of half circles. It is like this, right? So there are two sets of circle or two families of circles. We'll call it actually what constant resistance circle and constant reactant circle. So now, right, without me discussing anything, are you able to make any comment on this? What can be this? Do you have any idea? I just want to see your comments. Right. Have you seen anything like this before, or do you want to make any comments on this? Please do type in. I'm just waiting for your comments. The question is, have you seen anything like this before? So I assume it's a no. Right. So you may not have seen anything like this. Like, yeah. it's first time, but I'm very happy that you are seeing it for the first time. So now we have to study what are these, right? What are these? There are different circles. What is meant by constant resistance circle? What is constant reactance circle? How it is constructed, right? And how it can be used to solve problems on transmission line. So whatever this complex mathematical analytic expression which you were solving, right? Instead of that, if you are using the Smith chart, like if you make some simple rotations, right, that can give you answer. For instance, if you have to find standing wave ratio, right, and if you have to find what is the maximum impedance, what is the reflection coefficient, so those things without doing any complex mathematical or analytical things, you can find the answer using the Smith chart, right? So now I'm not telling what is it. We should study what is that Smith chart, right? But now I'm happy to know that you are not able to relate it what you already know with the Smith chart, right? So that is what we are going to do. So before I start discussing about basics of Smith chart and construction of Smith chart, I would like to discuss about this line impedance and line admittance, right? Line impedance and line admittance. So I'll just write it here. Line impedance, right? Line impedance. So I'll just start with this. So suppose you have a source, right? Sorry, control Z, right? And there is some internal resistance. I have shown it as a resistance. I'm calling it as actually what? ZG, right? And this source is actually what? Vs, right? Source is Vs. And this port Z is equal to 0. And we do have this transmission line of length L, right? We have this transmission line of length L, right? So this is Z is equal to L. And at the load end, we have a load impedance. At the load end, we have a load impedance, I'll call it ZL, right? And suppose the current flowing here, it is actually what, say, it is IG, right? Current flowing here, it is IG, right? And also here also it will be equal to what? IG, right? And the current here, it is IL, and say the voltage here, it is, I'll call it VS, right? Voltage here, it is VS, it is plus and minus, right? And voltage at the receiving end, I'll call it VR, right? Or even I can call VL or whatever. So I'll call it VR. Again, it is plus minus, right? And this current I can call IL or IR, right? I'll call it IR. So for instance, I'll call IR. Why? Because it is current at the receiving end, right? Even if I call IR, that is also not a problem. And again, it has some characteristic impedance Z0, capital Z0. And if you consider a cross section or some point which is at a distance Z from the transmission line, right? The voltage here can be written as V, right? I'll write the voltage here as V and the current here as I, right? Current here as I. And now I will define some impedances. Say the impedance as seen from the input end, I'll call it as ZS. I can call it as actually what? Sending point impedance. It is actually what? The impedance as seen from the transmitting end or the source end, right? And similarly, the impedance as seen from the load end, I'll call it as actually what? ZR. Of course, this ZR will be equal to what? ZL. Why? Because ZL, we are connecting a physical impedance there. So the ZR has to be equal to ZL. But I call this impedance equal to actually what? ZR, or impedance. This impedance at this point should be equal to ZL, and impedance as seen from this load end, I'm calling it as ZR, right? So now, if you take any other point which is at a distance Z from the load end, right? If you take any other point which is at a distance from load end, right? We can call it as actually what? Capital Z, right? Capital Z. This is line impedance, right? Line impedance, right? Line impedance. It will be nothing but what? The ratio of, right? Line impedance is nothing but what? The ratio of V of Z by I of Z. It is actually what? Line impedance is the ratio of, it's a complex ratio of voltage phasor to current phasor, right? Now, please don't confuse it with R. Z is equal to R plus J omega L, right? Please don't confuse it with this. This for this again, I have used actually what capital Z. It was series impedance per unit length, right? But for line impedance also, I am using same Z, right? So I just want everyone to take a deep breath, right, and try to right, accept it, right? So even for series impedance per unit length, that is R plus j omega L, I used capital Z, right? But please don't get confused with this. We are using for line impedance, that is impedance as seen from the transmitter side at any given point. That is also called line impedance. And the reciprocal of line impedance is actually called what? Line admittance. And this is admittance, line admittance. Please don't confuse it with actually what? G plus j omega C, right? Please don't confuse it with this. So this is one request from my side. So all are ready to accept that, right? So the problem is we'll be using capital Z and capital Y for line impedance, line admittance, as well as series impedance and shunt admittance, right? Please don't confuse with that. Okay with that. And why? Because even all the standard textbooks and even our textbook uses the same notation, right? So okay, I think it would be okay for you people, right? So line impedance is the ratio of voltage phasor to current phasor. It is a complex ratio, I can tell. Complex ratio. It is a ratio of voltage phasor to current phasor at any given point. So it is a complex, it will be a complex number. It will have a real part and an imaginary part. So the real part is called line resistance and imaginary part is called line reactance. So real part is called line resistance and this is called line reactance. So I think so far it's right. It's okay. Right. Are you okay with whatever I have told just now? Why? Because we are by discussing all these things, finally we should reach that, right, a spider web sort of thing. What is that? Smith chart, right? So I would be very happy if you can appreciate each and every point which I tell, right? So are we okay with whatever I have told just now? Okay, yeah, thank you. And I request you to respond so that we can move ahead. So thank you, Sherwin, for responding. Right. So now, right. So line impedance and line admittance. Right. So now, what are we going to do is, right? So we don't have to study this in detail. I don't have to derive the expression for line impedance and admittance in detail, right? But I want you to keep in mind, right? Line impedance or line admittance, this is equal to V of Z by I of Z at any given point, right? V of Z by I of Z at any given point. This is first point which I want you to appreciate. And second point which I want you to appreciate is, right, the Z can be, maybe I'll write, even if, right, expressed, Z can be expressed, Z at any point, Z at any given point, Z, right, can be expressed as a function of ZS and Z0, where ZS is actually what? Sending point impedance, right? So I'll just once again scroll up and show you what is ZS. I want all of you to appreciate this. It is actually what? Impedance of this entire line with the load as seen from the sending end. That is ZS. And Z0 is the characteristic impedance. So what I mean to say is impedance at any given point, which is at a distance set from the sending end, can be expressed in terms of the ZS and Z0, right? So I want you people to note it down, right? Right? So Z is equal to, please note it down along with me, right? Z is equal to Z0 into, it's actually what, a slightly larger expression, ZS plus Z0 into e power minus gamma Z plus ZS minus, all of you please take it down along with me, right? So it's the derivation part, even though it's simple, right, as it's not mentioned in the syllabus, I'm not considering, right, but please do take it down, right? So some of these I'll refer to when we discuss about Smith chart construction, right? And also, even though it's not a part of our syllabus, right, in all reputed universities, right, line impedance and admittance, right, or else if you see any NPTEL courses, this is one of the very important topics. So, but right, what we'll do is I'll just discuss only the key points which is required. I won't discuss any derivation, right? So Zs minus Z0 times e power gamma Z divided by, please take it down along with me, Zs plus Z0 into e power minus gamma Z minus Zs minus Z0 times e power gamma Z. So this is how you can find, right, impedance at any given point. So impedance, it's not a constant throughout the length, right? If you move along the length of the transmission line, impedance will change, right? So this is how you can compute impedance. But what you have to keep in mind is this Z0, that is a complex quantity. Zs is a complex quantity, right? And again, this gamma is a complex quantity. So this expression, in this expression, each and everything is a complex quantity. If you are using this mathematical expression to compute impedance at any given point Z, it is going to be really tedious, right? But whatever Smith chart we are going to study, right, it is a substitute for this. It is a graphical method which will make our work very easy, right? So that's why, right, I want you to appreciate this is the equation, and each term in this are complex quantity, and solving this complex equation or complex analytic, it's not that easy, right? And suppose you want to find, so in this case, suppose you want to find the load impedance at Z equal to L, what you should do, you substitute Z equal to L in this, that will give you the impedance at the receiving end, right? So that's it. So that is one thing. Second thing, what I have, all of you taken it down, please do take it down, right? Please do copy it down. Shall I move ahead? Shall I move ahead? Right. I hope all of you could take it down, right? So I am just moving ahead. Next, I'll tell about the third point. Right, third point. Please note it down. I want it to be there in your notebook, right? Everyone's notebook. Now, Z in terms of ZL and Z0, right, as function of distance from load end, right? We can express Z in terms of ZL and Z0, right? So one more thing I would like to you to recollect, right? Suppose we have this transmission line. If I'm measuring distance from the source end, I'll represent it as Z, and if I'm measuring distance from the load end, I'll represent it as D, right? So please do keep this in mind, right? So if I'm measuring distance from the source end, I'll represent it as Z, and if I'm measuring distance from the load end, I'll represent it as D, right? So if you are seeing a D, it is actually what distance from the load end. If you are seeing a Z, that is distance from the source end, right? That is something which I want you to appreciate, right? So now Z can be expressed in terms of load impedance and Z0, right, as a function of distance from load end, right? That is, I'll write here, Z is equal to Z0 into, again it's a big expression, ZL plus Z0 e power gamma D, it is D not Z, please note it, plus ZL minus Z0 e power minus gamma D divided by ZL plus Z0 e power gamma D minus ZL minus Z0 e power minus gamma D, right? So this is how we can find out impedance. If the load impedance, characteristic impedance, and gamma are known, you can find impedance at any given point which is at a distance D from the load end as this, right? D from the load end as this, right? Suppose you want to find ZS, what you should do is you substitute Z is equal to, or D is equal to L, right? If you substitute D equal to L, you will get ZS, right? So that is one point which I wanted to tell. Now, right, so in most of the data sheets, so later on when you are working on this microwave, right, later on when you're working on this microwave, in most of the data sheets or in standard textbooks, right, we'll be using, so one result which, right, e power gamma d or plus or minus gamma d, I can write it using actually what, hyperbolic trigonometric function, right, or e power gamma z I'll write, right, maybe I'll write e power gamma z or gamma d, whatever, right, e power plus or minus gamma z or gamma d, whatever, right, e power plus or minus gamma z can be written as, right, please note it down, cos h of gamma z plus or minus sine h of gamma z. So this is how hyperbolic trigonometric functions are related to what, complex exponentials or exponentials, right? E power plus or minus gamma z is hyperbolic cosine of gamma z plus or minus hyperbolic sine of gamma z. So we won't be using it. So I'm not actually going to discuss what does hyperbolic function or all those steps, right? But right, you have to keep this in mind. So, and before that, I'll just give the equations, whatever we have written, some equation number. So I'll call it equation number 1. Equation number 1 is actually what, expressing z in terms of zs and z0. That is equation number 1. So I request you also to put equation number 1 to that. And this is equation number 2, right? That is z in terms of zl and z0. So you can rewrite this equation number 1 and 2 in terms of actually what, hyperbolic cosine and sinusoid function. I'm not writing the first basic things, right? I'm just writing the final result. So in some data sheets and textbooks, you'll see this result. So the the point number is 4, right? Point number 4, I hope. Correct me if I'm wrong. Point number 4 is equation number 1 can be expressed as, right, z is equal to z0 into, right, zs minus z0 tan h. Tan h is hyperbolic tangent, right, of gamma z divided by z0 minus zs into tan h of gamma z. So if you see any NPTEL lectures or anything, they'll directly start with this expression. They won't actually derive anything or anything, right? So or else if you're attending some workshops, right, or any development program on microwaves, right, so they'll directly start with this. They won't actually explain anything, but this is actually what the low impedance at a distance z in terms of zs and z0. And similarly, point number 5, I would like everyone to take down. Equation number 2 can be written as z is equal to, equation number 2 can be written as z is equal to z0 into, again, zl plus z0 tan h times gamma d divided by z0 plus zl times tan h of gamma d. So this is point number 5 which I want you to remember, right? Point number 5 which I want you to remember. I'll call it equation number 3 and I'll call it equation number 4, right? So please take it down along with me, right? Take it down along with me. Now, equation point number 6 is z in terms of z0 and reflection coefficient at load end. Z in terms of z0 and reflection coefficient at load end. This is very, very important as far as our actually what Smith chart discussion is concerned, right? This everyone should actually remember this, right? We don't have to see how it came and all, but I need everyone to please remember this. But it's the derivation, it's not that actually difficult. Everything starts from v is equal to v plus e power minus gamma z plus v minus e power gamma z. From that it starts, right? So but I want you people to whatever result I'm going to write, I want you people to put it in actually a very thick red box. We'll be using it when we discuss about Smith chart, right? So I can write z is equal to z0 into 1 plus gamma L to the gamma L into e power minus 2 gamma d divided by 1 minus gamma L to the power e power minus 2 gamma d. So this result we'll be using when we discuss about construction of Smith chart, right? So this is very, very important, right? Very, very important. And we'll use it for Smith chart, right? We'll use it for Smith chart. So I want you people to, when we say construct the Smith chart, from this point we will, right, start, right? So this is what I just wanted to tell about this impedance and admittance. And admittance is actually what I only discussed about impedance. If it is admittance, admittance is nothing but reciprocal of this impedance. That's it. So I didn't discuss anything about say admittance. It will be reciprocal of that. So I hope all of you were able to take these points down. So I just try to make it short and script, and I would have shared the note, but I just wanted to give time for you people to write it down. That's why I've written everything. All of you were able to take it down. Please respond. Savan, you got enough time to write down?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have written.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So, and I'll repeat, even though this is not directly a part of in your syllabus, it is not directly mentioned, but there can be questions from this. No, so far the questions were not asked, right? But can't blame. So if at all questions are asked, if you know these things, right? If you know these things, you will be able to survive. And that's why I discussed this. But we don't have time to discuss this thing in detail. In fact, this module 1, it's very basic and we need some time. So we are spending some time on it. Right? Maybe we'll take another 2 or 3 hours to complete this. After that only we will move on to module 2 and 3. So if it is module 2 and 3, we can move very fast, right? So not some topics will be at least familiar to you people, right? So now one more thing which I want to discuss is, right? One more thing which I want to discuss is about normalized impedance or normalized admittance. Normalized impedance or admittance, right? So normalized impedance, I'll write it as actually what it is, actually small case Z, small case Z, right? So please don't confuse it with this type of font. This font size, font type I used for distance, right? Distance. So this font type I'll be using for normalized impedance, right? This Z is equal to what? Capital Z divided by Z0. This is actually what? Line impedance divided by characteristic impedance, right? So this is what is normalized impedance. And similarly, normalized admittance, small y will be 1 by small z, and that will be equal to admittance divided by characteristic admittance, right? So this is normalized impedance or normalized admittance, right? So if you divide an impedance with the characteristic impedance or admittance with the characteristic admittance, we'll get normalized impedance or admittance. In Smith chart, Smith chart actually what it deals with normalized impedance or admittance, right? Smith chart deals with normalized impedance or admittance. So please do remember this term, right? Please do remember this term, right? So now I'll move on to the next part, right? I just want to you people to recollect one more thing. We have a transmission line of length L, right? And suppose there is a load impedance. What will happen is, if it is perfectly matched, that is, if ZL is equal to Z0, what will happen? Entire incident power will be delivered to the load. Otherwise, a part will be delivered and remaining part will be reflected back, right? Suppose, right, I'm just actually open circuiting the load, and that is ZL is equal to infinity, right? If I'm open circuiting the load end, right, what will happen? Whatever power is incident, the same power will be reflected back, right? Now, if it is a lossless line, that is alpha equal to 0, which means the amplitude will remain the same throughout, right? If it is a lossless line, right, how can I plot the voltage standing wave ratio? So there is incident wave and reflected wave. At any given point, they'll interfere, right? They'll give voltage standing wave ratio, right? So now I'll plot the voltage standing wave ratio. So this is Z is equal to 0 and this is Z equal to L, right? So I just want to plot the voltage standing wave ratio in this case, right? So say this is Vs, right? Again, this is right. This is Z equal to 0, and this is Z equal to L, right? And what happens if it is an open circuit? If it is an open circuit, current will be 0, right? For an open circuit, current will be 0, and voltage will be maximum, right? Current will be 0 and voltage will be maximum. You already know that. So the standing wave pattern will look like this, right? Standing wave pattern will look like this, and also as it is a lossless line, Vmax will be V plus V minus, and V min will be V plus minus V minus, and one more thing, V plus is equal to V minus. So as it is a lossless line, right? So at this point, what happens is, say this is Vmax, right? This is Vmax, and V min will be equal to actually what? V min will be equal to 0. Vmax will be equal to 2V plus, right? So this is V min. So for an open circuited line, please listen, right? The voltage standing wave will be like this, right? Voltage standing wave will be like this. 1 second, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're
Okay,
audible.
okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. So I'll just plot now, right? So voltage is maximum here, right? And then it will decrease, right? Sorry, second. Right, voltage will be maximum at the open circuited end. It will decrease, right? Go to 0, increase, right? It will be like this, right? So voltage is maximum at load end. And what about the current? Current I'll draw. So this is voltage. This, right? This one is actually what? Voltage standing wave, right? So you can see voltage is maximum at open circuit end, right? Voltage will be maximum at open circuit end. And what about current? If it is an open circuit, what will be current? I'll use, say, blue color, right? Current will be 0, right? And initially current will start from 0, and it will go to maximum, again go to 0, maximum, 0, right? So you can see, so this is actually what? Current standing wave. This is current standing wave, right? So this is actually what? Voltage standing wave, and this is current standing wave, right? And what you can see is the maximum voltage occurs at actually what? The load end at open circuit end, and minimum current occurs here. So along the length, if you see, right? So at the load end, right? If impedance or voltage is maximum, then again at a distance of actually what we have seen already, at a distance of lambda by 2, same voltage will repeat, right? And similarly, here current is minimum at a distance of lambda by 2, same current will repeat, right? Lambda by 2, same current will repeat, and the separation between this maxima and minima will be lambda by 4. So what I want you people to appreciate here is voltage and current for a lossless line, right? I repeat, for a lossless line, voltage and current repeats every lambda by 2 distance, right? So if you move from one end, as you move lambda by 2, right, the same value will repeat. If it is a lossless, right? If it is lossless or low loss, then we can tell, right? So this is something which I want to do. So what happens to impedance? Impedance is actually what? Ratio of V by I. So impedance also will repeat. So I'll write here also Z, repeat every lambda by 2 distance. Can you appreciate that? Are you able to what? Accept it? I made one statement here now. Voltage, current, and impedance repeat every lambda by 2 distance. Are you able to appreciate it? Why? Because voltage is repeating, current is repeating, and if it is an open circuit, right, it will be the case. And if it is a short circuit, what will happen? If it is short circuit, voltage will be 0 and current will be maximum, right? Current will be maximum. So the standing wave pattern will reverse, right? And instead of that, if I connect any other load impedance ZL, right, the ratio of voltage by current will be equal to actually what? ZL. The ratio of voltage by current will be equal to ZL. So if it is open circuit, ZL is infinity. So voltage is maximum, current is 0. So maximum by 0, that is infinity. Right. And if it is short circuit, voltage is 0, current is maximum. So maximum by 0, that is actually 0. Right. And if it is any impedance in between ZL, that will be equal to the ratio of voltage to current. Right. So instead of this open circuit, if I connect any ZL here, what will happen? That impedance will repeat every lambda by 2 distance. Right. Or the voltage at the load end and current at the load end will repeat every lambda by 2 distance. That is something which I want you people to appreciate. Right. So now please type in chat window whether you are able to appreciate what I told. So you know about standing wave, right? So it's actually what voltage and current will repeat. So as voltage and current are repeating, impedance also will repeat. So the question is, at what interval impedance, voltage and current will repeat? The answer is lambda by 2. That should be the key takeaway from whatever discussion I made now. Right. If you are able to appreciate that, then I'm happy. Right. So that is it. That is about actually what voltage and current. So it is not only for open circuit. Even though I have shown only for open circuit, I can easily prove this is the same thing for a short circuit, right? And this is the same thing even if I'm connecting any other resistance or impedance equal to ZL, right? So now we'll see something about actually what normalized impedance. So to save time, what I'll do is I'll use this material to discuss about normalized impedance. So I'll just zoom it in a bit. Right. I already made this available in Canvas, right? But again, right, I'll sorry for my horrible handwriting, right? Okay, yeah. So now I want to discuss something about normalized impedance. Next agenda is to discuss something about normalized impedance. So normalized impedance of a transmission line is denoted by the small z. So please note I'm using this particular font type, not this small z, this z. This I'll use for distance. Please keep in mind, right? So it is actually what lowercase z, right? That is small z. That is equal to capital Z by Z naught. And similarly, small y, that is normalized admittance. That is capital Y by Y naught, right? And I have already written, don't confuse it with position Z, right? Small z. This is, I'll write again, it is small z. Not this particular Z, but this particular font type, right? Okay. Now, this is a complex number or a complex quantity. It will have a real part and an imaginary part. The real part is called actually what? Normalized resistance. Real part, right? So we can write Z is equal to capital Z by Z naught. That is equal to small r plus j small x. This small r is called normalized resistance, and small x is called actually what? Normalized, reactance, normalized reactance. And similarly here, this is normalized admittance and this is normalized susceptance. But we are interested in this normalized resistance and normalized reactance. Why? Because, right, the circles which you have seen in Smith chart, they are nothing but what? Constant R circles and constant X circles. I told it, sir, that R and X, they are coming from this normalized impedance, right? Normalized impedance, right? So this normalized impedance is this, right? So now, one more thing which I would like to tell is characteristic impedance for a lossless line, that is root of Z by Y, that is equal to, lossless means capital R will be equal to capital G will be equal to 0. Please don't confuse it with actually what? The capital R and capital X of this Z. Okay. So what happens is Z naught will be root of Z by Y, that is root of J omega L by root of J omega C, that is root of L by C. You can write it as R naught. You can, it will be real valued. So characteristic impedance for a lossless line will be a real value, and we have already discussed it. You can write it as actually what? R naught, right? So now some important features of this normalized impedance we'll discuss, right? Some important features of normalized impedance. You can, the maximum value of normalized impedance, right? The maximum value of normalized impedance is actually what? It is given by Z max by R naught. For a lossless line, it is Z max by Z max is maximum value of impedance, and R naught is actually what? The characteristic impedance. So maximum value of normalized impedance will be Z max by R naught. So this Z max in turn will be nothing but what? V max by I mean. I told Z max will be V max by I mean. impedance is maximum when voltage is maximum and current is minimum, right? So this Z max can be written as mod of V max by I min, right? And this R naught into I min we can write as actually what? Minimum voltage, right? R naught into I min, resistance into minimum current can be written as minimum voltage, right? So it is equal to V max by V min, and we already know what is V max by V min. That is numerically equal to standing wave ratio, right? That is numerically equal to standing wave ratio. This is one very important point which you have to keep in mind. Maximum value of normalized impedance is numerically equal to standing wave ratio. Please note down, right? You note down maximum value of standing wave ratio is numerically equal to, maximum value of normalized impedance is numerically equal to standing wave ratio, right? Please note it down. Maximum value of normalized impedance is numerically equal to standing wave ratio. And similarly, minimum value of normalized impedance is numerically equal to reciprocal of standing wave ratio, right? Is numerically equal to reciprocal of standing wave ratio, right? You can note it down. I'll give you some time. Please note it down. Please note it down, right? These are actually what I'm not discussing anything unwanted. I'm like, there are so many things in your notebook, in your textbook. I'm just giving you only the points which are required, right? Only the points which are required. So I want you to take it down, right? These things are required. These points are, if you understand these points, you will be able to appreciate when I say, right, also this is Z max and that is equal to rho, and this is Z min that is equal to 1 by rho. When I discuss about Smith chart, right, you will be able to appreciate, right? So I hope these 2 points are taken down, right? Then one more point which I want to tell is, for every interval of half wavelength distance along the line, Z max or Z min will repeat, or entire Z will repeat, right? For every interval of half wavelength, Z will repeat. So you don't take it down like this, right? I'll just give you another expression. You can write Z is equal to, or Z of small z is equal to Z of small z plus lambda by 2. So what happens is, if you plot small z as a function of distance, what will happen? This will repeat every lambda by 2 distance. It will repeat every lambda by 2 distance. So if you consider any given lambda by 2 distance of a transmission line, you can see all possible values of voltage, all possible values of current, and all possible values of Z within this lambda by 2. So that is why later on I'll tell the circumference of that circle, right? Circumference of the circle in terms of distance from load end or distance. This is equal to actually what? Lambda by 2 in Smith chart, right? The circumference of the outer circle, it is equal to lambda by 2, right? We'll tell that later. That is because if you consider any lambda by 2 distance along the length of a transmission line, what will happen is the value of voltage, current, and impedance will repeat. Voltage, current, and impedance will repeat along the length, right? So if you have a short circuit at load end, right? If you are traveling towards source end from load end, after a distance lambda by 2, you will see again a short circuit, or you will see a point with Z equal to 0, or you will see a point with voltage equal to 0 and current as maximum, right? Similarly, if you have any other value of ZL at the load end, right? If you travel a distance of lambda by 2 from load end, you will see the same value of ZL, right? The impedance, line impedance will be equal to ZL at a distance of lambda by 2 from load end, right? That is something which I wanted to tell. So are you able to appreciate this? If you are able to appreciate this, you can straight away move on to actually what? Construction of Smith chart. So I'll just give this as actually what? A reading exercise. I already posted it in Canva. So the Smith chart construction part, I would like you to read. So you know gamma L is actually what? This, and it can be represented as this, right? And in terms of distance from load and can be represented like this, right? So whatever is required, and even this expression I discussed. So I request everyone to read this and come once before we come to the next class. So tomorrow we'll start with the Smith chart construction, this part, right? So please read this and come. Right. So please do read this and come. So I would like to hear if you have any doubt. Right. If you have any doubt so far, please let me know. So I just discussed so many points in today's session. I rushed up because it's not directly mentioned in your syllabus. It's actually a prerequisite. Right. So yeah. So any doubt at this point, please feel free to ask. Any doubt? Right. Did you get some idea about this? Whatever we have discussed today, were you able to what appreciate that? Were you able to connect it with what you already knew? Okay, yeah, I know. I'll make this recording again available, and also you can read the material which I posted. So tomorrow when you come, I want everyone to read that and read this particular uh, material and come. Right. So we'll start discussing about Smith chart. So tomorrow we'll discuss about construction of Smith chart, and we'll see how Smith chart can be constructed using the pertaining equations using in GeoGebra. Right. Then later on problems using Smith chart. With that, we'll wind up transmission line part, and then one more session we'll discuss the Klystone, and we'll wind up this module. Right. So I've taken some amount of time, right, to discuss each and every aspect in this. Why? Because these are new to you people, right? You are not familiar to this, right? This is not something which you have already learned already, right? So. What do you think? Did I spend too much of time on first module? Or should I have like given you the final results and rush through? Please, I would like to know your opinion. Do
No,
you
sir, this is fine, sir.
right? So maybe, but further when we move on, right? I'll have to rush through a bit. So rushing through doesn't mean right we'll be skipping some topics, but the second module and all you will be somehow comfortable. Why? Because it's something related to your network parameters which you have already studied, right? But these things I think we have to spend some time, right? Otherwise, these are really abstract, right? People used to tell this first module it's how to convince, right? It's not easy to digest and all, but it's nothing if you start from the very basics, right? You will be able to easily appreciate it. What do you say? Right? If you start from basics, is it right? If you go in a sequential manner, right? Did I tell anything which you are not able to digest so far? Please do type in. I just want to know your opinion. Right? Okay, maybe fine. So if no doubt, right? What you can do is you can just type in your USN in chat window, right? And please keep in mind this is actually one of the very crucial vital topic, right? And it's not that easy to digest, but if you are okay with the basics, you will be able to appreciate it very easily, right? So okay, those who have typed in your USN in chat window can leave, right? And thank you so much for joining. So tomorrow while coming, please do read the material and come. Yes, I'll upload it. I'll upload it. Right, I'll upload it. Why? Because I have taken up too much of contents in this particular video. I'll upload it soon.